Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Byrd Real Estate Podcast show. For the new viewers, I am your host, Bruce Byrd Jr., also known as Boss Man Bruce. As you know, that on this platform, we here just not to educate, but to motivate, even though education is a great thing, but we're here to motivate and give those who may be scared, have anxiety, or just have a little stress, or who want to change their life, who's too tired of working a 9-to-5 job, and just say, you know what, this is enough. And we give you the leap of faith to drop them jobs and get rid of their stress and start a new lifestyle. And also use your God gift that was given to everyone. So on today's episode, I have a special guest. His name is Blake Selby. He graduated from Michigan State University with a Bachelor's of Science Kinesiology. Blake applied his education to the world of fitness centers, and his first gym venture at the age of 22 years old. Straight out of college, after several years of success, he marketed and sold his gym to a chain and used those profits to fund a startup in the real estate industry. Over the coming years, he will grow his business to include acquisitions, private lending, asset management, with a healthy balance sheet and with virtually no debt left on his businesses. You guys, can you please help me welcome Blake Selby?
Well, thanks for the introduction, Bruce. That was well spoken. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's definitely been a ride, and thanks for having me on.
I appreciate you coming on. It's always an honor to have someone of great success to really help educate and and give access to other people that they probably didn't have access to. So on the first topic, what we're going to talk about right now is, who is Blake Selby?
Sure.
Besides the business, of course, you have success in that, but who is Blake Selby as a man?
Sure. I feel like I've always been semi-entrepreneurial, even as a kid, whether it was, I was in Boy Scouts as a kid. So did a lot of popcorn selling, at a young age. And that's a big thing they do to raise money in Scouts. And so, starting real young, I was doing things like sanding boats for neighbors to make money, doing yard work for neighbors and babysitting and snow plowing. And so it's kind of always been in my blood. And then over the years, I sort of graduated to other things, doing, personal training. I used to be really into fitness. I'm not anymore, but at the time I was, and ended up graduating college and starting a gym, and then moved into real estate and, now real estate lending, over the years. So, it's who I am, I think, is sort of in the roots of wanting to try things, wanting to take chances, take risks, build things. I think about business as, some people, have things that they do like art or, that they're really into, or music. But for me, I'm really into growing a business and overcoming the challenges that come along with that. So I think that's something that I get a lot of value out of, and that's something I enjoy doing.
Excellent. So where are you from? Let the viewers know.
Yeah, originally from Michigan, grew up, born and raised Traverse City, Michigan, graduated from Michigan State. And then right after college, moved out here to the Quad Cities area. And for people who don't know where that is, that's right on the border of Illinois and Iowa on the Mississippi River. And that's where I have my team, my staff, and my office in Davenport, Iowa, which is right on the edge of eastern Iowa. It's about 5-6 hours away from, where I went to college in Michigan. So.
That's cool. So do you or you have kids, you married?
Neither of those. Neither of those. I've just been I'm 32 years old at this point. And I've just been kind of one focus, just laser focused on
Mm,
building, massive, wealth and building a business and eliminating debt. I don't like having a lot of
mm,
debt. Some guys are very excited about having a lot of leverage and a lot of debt. I'm not one of those people. I would say that I gravitate more toward sort of the Dave Ramsey style of thinking, where you really want to try and have everything as paid off as possible. Now we'll take out if we get a crazy good deal, somebody's offering us 3%, fixed. I mean, yeah, I might do that for a time until I sell that asset, but at any given time, less than 5% of my net worth is leveraged. So
mm. That's perfect because I like that you're talking about debt because people don't like they don't know the difference between bad debt and good debt.
true.
And they don't know how to utilize it. Bad debt is that anything that's a liability to you, what I'm saying? But good debt is something that's an asset to you, and that's going to get you out of debt. It's an old saying that in real estate that even with apartment buildings that you want to be out of debt within 3.5 years, of you acquiring it.
That's a
What
great
are
that's a great goal.
what are your personal strengths?
Yeah, I think I'm able to see around corners. I think that's if I had a superpower, that's probably in business, that's what it would be. The ability to see bad things coming around the corner. So
Mm,
I can avoid a lot of unnecessary risk. I can generally stop problems before they arise. If I had a personal strength, that's probably it.
mm. What do you love about life?
Yeah, mainly I would say just the challenge of growing as a person by overcoming things. I think that's how you grow.
Mm,
I think that you need to face adversity in order to grow as a human. I think if you stay complacent and you don't endure some level of stress, you got to watch it because stress can kill you.
mm,
But if you can maintain some, in science they call it it's actually spelled EU followed by stress. It's called the eustress, and that's actually a type of stress that is a positive stress on the human body, and it causes you to become stronger. Much like when you're weightlifting and flexing your
mm,
muscle with heavy weight, you're breaking down the muscle a little bit so that it grows back stronger, able to handle that task. The same thing can happen with your brain. It's a little bit different mechanism, but by and large, that's what it is. So you just got to be careful you don't load up to where you get negative stress and cause
mm.
problems.
Yeah, people don't. I believe, like I go with the spiritual side too. People don't understand what to consume. You know what I'm saying? We have to detox our body from negativity, in
Hmm.
order to exercise positivity traits that we consume. So, and it can be things that we be around that we can consume negative thoughts because, if you realize that somebody else's problem become your problem when you're around them too long, and now you pacing back and forth at night, wondering why you stressed, and that person sleeping good, but you put their stress on you now, you know. So
Yes.
that's and we don't talk about mental health enough of people because stress, like you said, stress is a killer. Stress leads to depression. It's all a step, anxiety, depression, stress, depression. And now you having these thoughts, of a lower what you want to call it, uh thinking lower of yourself, and
Right.
wanting to not cause harm to yourself but cause harm to others when you hit that depression strike, you know. And it's nice just to have someone that has a positive spirit that that's changing their life, that's adapted or acquired positive thinking even in stress situation. That really shows your character when you go through adversity, and how do you handle that adversity? How do you handle that stress? Because everybody's not exempt from it. So how do you handle it? What are your first thoughts? What are the first things that come out your mouth when a problem arises? And that shows true character.
Absolutely. And human beings, men especially, I think,
Mhm.
identify with what it is they do. And that's their personal identity is tied, whether it should be or not, it just is. And our species ties itself to what we do as who we are, right? So you often say, well, if you ask somebody, who are you? Well, oh, I'm Joe. I'm a volunteer firefighter. It's one of the first things that comes out of their mouths is their career choice or, their business. And so what can happen with stress is that when something goes wrong in the business, it can manifest itself. And it does for me too. I'm not exempt from this. It makes you question your entire identity if too many things start going wrong at once. And so you want to make sure that you set manageable, realistic goals that aren't, that you don't want to always be failing, right? So know thyself. You need to have goals that you can accomplish, but also that challenge you so that it takes some work to do it.
Yeah, and to really, it's really before business anything else, you really have to really challenge your mental. That's the biggest thing, and really, because you can lose your identity. Definitely, you got the wrong people around you, because now they're telling you what you can't do, or I wouldn't did this, and when they ain't even doing a dang thing in their life but sitting in the audience, and watching you progress, or watching you. And I don't believe in failure if you keep going. Like, for example, if somebody be around you right now, Blake, if they feel like they fell, and they're going to succeed because they're around you,
Right.
because of your mental, what comes out your mouth when you're going through adversity. So it's going to motivate them to say, hold on, this is natural. Without no great test, who are you?
Right.
Everybody wants to do great accomplishments, great accolades, but they don't want to go through no great test. They don't want to go through no great adversity, and that comes with it. And you got to understand that's just a lifestyle that comes with it.
There's a quote that says something like, when we make plans, God laughs, right? And I think that that's so true, especially when your plans involve other humans and human error. And there's a lot of folks that, even in a given week, I can make the best plans, and sometimes they just don't pan out. And a lot of times it isn't because of me; it's because of other people that I was trying to rely on. And so even now, at the higher level that I'm playing at, as opposed to before, I still get stressed. I still have stress weekly. It used to be hourly, but now it's weekly. I'll have, several events that, usually anger me, and it's from other people that, are not doing their jobs right or something of that nature. And I feel like I have to, do everything myself sometimes. Now I do have great employees, and that's helped me to scale. But there one time I did do everything myself, so it's hard to scale away from that, and want to entrust the important tasks to other people. That's hard to do for me.
Yeah, and in order to grow, you have to delegate your workload. You just have to. If you want to be mediocre, don't get a team in place. But if you got a vision that God gave you, and He know that you're gonna need a team in place to bring that vision to life, it's you have to trust you, and that's the whole thing of the whole being a business owner, is that you have to trust, you have to grow. You need others to help you grow. You cannot just grow alone. Even in life, your lessons, you need your lessons or lessons of other people in order to grow. And they call that wisdom, nothing but experience. So
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And, I think if you can't learn things from other people, you probably won't gain any more wisdom. I think that there are certain people to take wisdom from, and I think there are other people that you want to avoid taking wisdom from. And so discerning which types of folks to learn from and to grow from, I think that's something that it's hard for a lot of people. They want to please everyone, and at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to. There's just going to be some people who, if let's say I offer 100 different folks a loan, right?
mhm.
Maybe they're a flipper, landlord, whatever, what have you. One of those people, before we even get the loan done, inevitably, just the law of large numbers, at least one of those people is going to be upset that I did not approve their loan for whatever reason. Maybe I didn't like the way that they were too aggressive, their demeanor wasn't right. But every so often I'll have somebody that and I can't please that person. There was nobody else was going to be able to please them either. They're just unpleasable. So
I like what you just said right there. Before we go to the next topic of how, and we look, people judge you off your demeanor or how you carry yourself. You can go so far when you conduct yourself with discipline and good character. And you just said that, and if the viewers didn't hear anything else about getting a loan through you or anything like, present yourself that's going to be presentable and respectable. And it's a crazy thing that people, and we gonna shift this, but it's crazy that people they will shine the light on your problems, correct? And
exactly.
then keep their problems in the dark in the closet. So now they want, because I believe people are ashamed of things that they do. And that can cause stress on you, because now you're trying to live up to another person, when if you look at their life or look at their life, you're like, hold on. Why am I even listening to you? Why am I even taking advice from you? You're struggling in this area of life. This is my bad time, but you had your time look like it's better than mine. So like, you definitely have to discern people and what comes out of their mouth. And I'm big on words, so big that I dissect them, because I self-analyze myself. I dissect myself to the T. I know when depression is going to hit. I know when stress is going to hit. I know my actions. So if I'm doing it to myself, what do you think I'm gonna do to you?
Right.
What do you think I'm gonna do? So
Exactly.
the next topic is the core of your business. How did you get in real estate? I had a viewer, a friend of mine. He said, "Man, I want to know, how did they do it? I have money. How did
Yep.
they do it? I heard them stories, but I need to go on steps on how to do it. So how did you do it?"
So the path is never going to be this, right? It's never going to be a nice, even, smooth ride from 0 to 100, right?
Mhm.
It's going to look something like this. It's going to jet up, down, up, down. It's going to be a roller coaster,
Mhm.
regardless. And that's the best planning. And so, how did I do it? My sort of origin story is going to be a lot different than somebody else that's in the same position. We're also in a very different time and a very different market than when I got serious, right? So I got serious in real estate around 2015, 2016, and that's when I started acquiring a lot of my units. Prior to me being a private lender, primarily I was a landlord and flipper. That's what
Mhm.
I started as a typical real estate investor. And how I got to 300 plus single family homes that I
Mhm.
owned by myself with no partners. I did that because in 2015, 2016, I was, basically I had sold my gym to a chain. And then one of the bankers, vice president of a bank, worked out at my gym, and they did portfolio loans, which is an in-house loan. And so I had just gotten six figures from the gym sale, and then he gave me $1 million line of credit. Okay,
Mhm.
based upon that sale. So, I started with probably 1.3 in capital when I started my real estate journey, but I started that because I had the gym sale to go, from there. I don't think that the average person is going to be able to take my exact path, but
Right.
what I can say is if I had to start from scratch, if I had to give that person that asked you, that viewer, some advice, it's move forward, but move forward carefully, right? If you have some money that you've saved up from work or from, family and friends, or maybe you've got some credit somebody can co-sign for you, that's great. But just remember, these are real people. This is real money that you can't get back, if things go super south. And so you just want to be, you need to also figure out what you're good at. So do you have a lot of money? Then it's probably not that hard to get into real estate. If you've got six figures already, you're going to have an easier time getting into real estate than someone with $0. But if
Mhm.
you have $0 and you have a lot of time, you can also be successful. But you have to have one of the two or a mix of both. If you're
Mhm.
not going to devote a lot of time to it, there's no getting rich easy in real estate. I see a lot of wholesalers, which I don't know how familiar you are with that, but it's
That's how I
basically
started.
someone. Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of wholesalers, and there's I kind of lump wholesalers into categories. I lump wholesalers in, I call it accidental wholesaling,
Mhm.
because I just transact so many properties in a year. If we transact 200 times in a year, my company, right? Um, I just meet so many buyers and sellers that sometimes I'll have a buyer that says, "Hey man, what do you got?" And then I'll talk to my sellers and I'm like, "Hey, do you guys have anything?" And then I just put them together and I make a wholesale, right?
Mm.
That's very organic. That's
Mhm.
um that's what I call like an accidental wholesale, and we do make about 6 figures a year from that.
Mm.
But it's not something that I really go after hard. It's
Mhm.
just okay. I'll give you an example. I just had a 33 unit in Quincy, Illinois.
Mhm.
A 33 unit package of the guy called me off of a direct mailer, and he basically was like, "Hey man, I just want to sell the whole thing." Seller,
Mm.
he already owns them outright. He wants to do a seller finance. I don't really want to own these 33, but I know a bunch of my guys would, and they're more landlord kind of type. And
Mm.
so I am probably going to assign that. I might charge $75,000 assignment fee on that
Mm.
contract. That's not the primary part of my business. I just do it because it's kind of there and it's low hanging fruit. But somebody else, they might not have access to that. So wholesaling might not be a good starting spot for them. They might want to start with some other form. Maybe they want to be a real estate agent, and meet people that way. Maybe they want to, maybe they want to be a mortgage broker, right?
Mm.
That's possible too. I mean, I'm in private lending now mainly. And so, when I lend out my money, I'm basically playing the part of a mortgage broker, except there is no broker. I'm the actual guy with the cash.
Mm.
So that's to answer your question in a roundabout way, this viewer that asked you, what the heck do I do? How do I go from zero to somewhere up there? The answer is going to depend on their individual strengths, personality wise,
Mm.
and their time availability. If you have no time to put into this, it's going to be hard,
Mm.
So I don't think there's a set path. There's a lot of paths, and they all can eventually lead to that area. But if you do the exact same thing I did, you might not have the same result now, because in 2015, 2016, when I bought a lot of these properties,
Mm.
the values by the time I sold them in 2020 shot up exponentially, right?
Mm.
Because our market was an inclining market. Now,
Mm.
if you buy those same properties today and pay today's prices,
Oh.
you might be a declining market going into the future. And so,
Mm.
it's just like if you do the exact same routine as Shaquille O'Neal, right,
Mm.
used to do
Mm.
back in his day, will you be as successful as Shaquille O'Neal? Probably not, because there's other factors that went into that. He was probably born to be what he was, so
So, but we can take things from somebody,
yes,
and add it to our arsenal, you know.
you got it.
And like you said, there's other, you can do fix and flips, where you got a little money, or you want to get capital from a hard money lender, or come to you, for private lending if you got money already, and start fixing flips. And it can be a small one where you can make at least 20 or $30,000 or something like that, off a flip. But that's a way to start, and so
Yeah,
many ways to get in. But he just said, how can I get in? How can I do this? But like you said, there's so many ways
so
to
many.
really, so many ways to get in. So my next question for you is, what are you up to now? What are your goals? What are you doing? Like,
Yeah. So since 2020, I ended up selling off about 200 of my 300 houses. Okay. And then I paid off the remaining 100. Okay. And then I still had 7 figures left. We are now, as a business, transforming into a private lending company. And we've really been doing that since 2020, where we do more private lending than we do all other things combined. Okay. So, for example, if you're a flipper and you have a house, or you want to buy a house, you might call us and say, "Hey, I need a loan for 4 months," right? This is how much I need. What can you do? And so kind of what we do that's a little bit new is that we took all the things we hated about
mm,
lending: the upfront fees, the appraisal fees, the monthly payments in most cases, the complicated math with the interest rates. And we just eliminated all of that and created a niche flat fee product whereby somebody can borrow, let's say 50, $100,000, and they know exactly what they're going to be paying. I might make 10 grand off of 100, or I might make 5 grand off of 50. They know exactly what I'm going to make, and we've eliminated all the fine print, all the math,
Yeah.
all the stupid
Simplified.
fees, simplified everything. And we found that a lot of people prefer that product to more traditional. Now, we do some traditional loans that are, if they're going to be a high six-figure amount or something. I've got a few that we do longer term on a more normal kind of basis. But for anything under, 100,000, or we tend to go with like a flat fee kind of a model, and people like that. So that's what we're doing now. We've been doing that really aggressively since 2020.
Dang, that's really dope. And I know people always talk about, well, I need money. Here you go.
Right.
Here you go.
Right.
If you guys watching this and you hear anything that Blake's saying here, right here, and because it's about access, and that's why I said on my platform I'm giving people access, because people think, everything's a scam. How they just, some people just be just overthinking, and they will take you off your journey.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they would say, oh, this is a scam, this is that. You ain't ever had problem in your life. How would you know about anything? Have you lent some money? But that's great, just not for, because other investors too that be on my platform also that may need lending and as well, or whatever, maybe want to collab with you and things like that. My next question for you is, what would you tell your old self?
Wow. Keep going. I just tell the old me to keep going. Just keep your foot on the pedal, make the mistakes. Just make them, because you learn from pain better than you learn from anything else. And that's my opinion. When I get super frustrated and upset and mad and I'm seeing red, that's when I learn the most. I learn less when things are going well.
Like I said, it shows your true character in the tough times. Just that overcoming solidifies who you are. That overcome mechanism. How did you fund your oh my goodness, your business, your other business you did before
The
you got to
fitness center.
The fitness center, correct.
So I graduated from Michigan State, and I used to be in a phenomenal shape, which I'm not now, but I used to be a personal trainer. I competed when I was a teenager. I was doing some pretty high level bodybuilding shows. And I had a lot of clients. I turned a couple of people pro that were my clients in bodybuilding. And so, and I was especially good with, female bodybuilding and bikini shows and things like that. I was very good at training those athletes. I actually trained Miss Iowa. She won Miss Iowa on her first try. That was Alyssa Morrison. So, I think that, I had already had some money coming in college. I would train at the campus, area gym. It was a Snap Fitness at the time. And, I was the head trainer there, doing all kinds of, personal training and, basically prepping people for competitions. And I was probably making more as a college kid than most people do when they get out of college. So I had saved up after paying, for college. I had saved up about 10 grand, which isn't much, but for a young guy, for 22, that was a lot. It's one thing to make 10 grand. It's another thing to save it while you're paying for books and college and all this stuff. So I found an opportunity out here in Iowa, a gym that was in Bettendorf, Iowa, and they were one of the partners had some health issues and ended up being terminal. But I think that they just needed an influx of people. And at the time, I was thinking in my head, okay, I already have all this experience. I've been doing personal training and running gyms since I was, 15. I used to mop floors at the Powerhouse gym when I was 15. So I said, okay, I know how to do this. I had gotten my degree in kinesiology, and I went to the guys and I was like, look, I can pay you this amount. And basically with my 10 grand, I was able to purchase the gym business, over a period of years. And then when I went to sell it to the chain, I was able to get a $250,000 lease negotiated into a new building that I then bought with some of that money. And I bought a strip mall. So, it was, some of it was just happenstance. I was lucky to have found that gym, and the owner of that gym and I had a really good relationship during that time, and it just worked out really good, and for him too to just kind of exit that, and so I think it was a little unconventional, but not too many people can buy a gym on contract, so to speak, or can go into a pre-existing gym and sort of turn it around. And when I took it over, between all the part-time employees, they had a daycare, they had a smoothie, bar, and it was a 2-story fitness center with a UFC training area that was pretty well known. And they just had a lot of employees, and they were just hemorrhaging money. And so when I got in there, I was kind of the bad guy, right? I kind of had to, people were letting their friends in there for free, not paying, and I had to kind of start enforcing that. So, but it did turn it around enough to be able to sell it to another gym chain that had multiple gyms in the region. So and there's a lot of learning that went on there. It took me about 3 years to turn that gym around and sell it. So
that's strategic, and it tells the importance of having a business relationship.
right,
That's awesome, and people need to understand relationships go a long way.
they do.
A
They
college
do.
kid, going to owning a strip mall and having a gym because of your relationship.
Right.
People could put anything they want. If you own anything, you can put anything in the contract if you like a person, and make it, not just affordable, but comfortable for the next person to make that transition to be owner,
And nothing is easy. I mean, we're glossing over a lot of bad things that happened during those times too. I mean, it's just looking back now, I'm in such a better place, and it looks like, again, the trajectory was this, but when in reality, I had to find out the hard way what a credit card chargeback is, right? And if you're a gym owner, and somebody uses your gym and they pay for a 6-month membership, a couple months can go by, or however much time, and they can just charge back the whole thing, and with their credit card, and then you're just out the money. And maybe you already spent that money, so that can be hard. Dealing with chargebacks, dealing with damage to equipment, so every business has its own unique problems. You wouldn't believe the budget when you have hundreds of people going through your gym every week. Just the little things like toilet paper, you know, they just add up so fast. Heating a 10,000 square foot building in the wintertime, and there are frigid, -6 degree days or whatever out here. It could be $1,500 a month just to heat the dang thing. Forget about the rent. The rent might be, at that time, before I owned the strip mall, it was, probably 4,000 or 5,000 a month just in the rent. And that was a good deal for out there. So
Well, hey,
absolutely.
I'm happy you educated them on that, because ain't nothing just beautiful with unicorns and rainbows.
Right.
So,
Everything that's worth anything is going to have some degree of suck. It really will. And it's hardest in the beginning. And I still face hardships in the business now. They're a little bit less immediate, right? And I can do something about them. And I've got enough cash to kind of pay problems away nowadays. But but I don't like to, and I still I try to better myself and better the business, but it's hard because relying on other human beings, not just employees, but just attorneys, title companies, tenants, contractors, all those kind of things, borrowers, right? All of these people are human, and they all are susceptible to human nature. So they're going to do things that are not on the up and up sometimes. They're going to be flaky sometimes and not do their jobs sometimes. So it's just triple and quadruple checking everything constantly. That can be hard on a business owner.
Well, definitely. So we're about to wrap this interview up. So where can the viewers find you? and if they want lending, if they want just, real estate, they got a deal for you, where can they find Blake?
Sure. So I'm pretty active on a lot of the Facebook groups. So you'll see me there, just Blake Selby. I think my Facebook is / Selby Rentals. That's SELBY Rentals. Also, SelbyRentals.com is my website, and you'll find a lot of my information on there. Instagram, I've got Selby Rentals Instagram / So those are probably the easiest places to get me.
Okay, perfect. So you guys, you heard Blake Selby. He dropped a lot of jewels on lending, relationships, pros and cons, even mental. So this concludes the interview today with Blake. Blake, I appreciate you. I love having you on a guest today. Definitely talking about the mental health on my
Yeah.
platform. It's been a beautiful discussion. It's been a beautiful day just hearing you. And until next time, thank you guys. And you know how to get in contact with Blake.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Appreciate you.